This is Grandmalita, and this video is dedicated to my two granddaughters, Apollonia and Bibi. We're going to be working on a project, and it's on how to make a mini crossbody bag. That's going to be specifically for you. So by now, you have received the packet of supplies, materials, and a few ideas on what your project includes. And that'll be the different pieces of fabric, the hardware that has already been prepped for you. So I've already cut it, and it's in each packet. Now, if you want to make that item again in the future, at least you have the measurements that are outlined in the information that I sent to you. And what you have in your packet, now I have different fabrics than what I sent to you. Yours is LOL fabric. Fabric is slightly wider on one side than it is on the other. So this width right here, the wider part, is going to be the width of your crossbody bag, okay? So that's going to be a little wider than the depth. See here. So what you have in your packet, you have two pieces of fabric that are the outside fabric. One piece of fusible interfacing, and I'll show you how you use this. One I did put on the inside of one piece of the outside fabric. Two pieces of the same size as your outside fabric. That's going to be your lining of your purse. And then what else do we have in your packet? We have a zipper, and I put some fabric on the ends. In fact, we'll get right back to that once we get to that point in the project. And you'll have your hardware here. That is for the side of the purse, so that your strap. Let's talk about strap. Here we have it. Here's the strap right here. So what I sent you is I sent you one strap that has this hook on it that will be hooking onto the side of your bag, and the other one I don't have it finished, and that's for you to finish. I'll be providing you instructions on how to do that too. I'm sure you have all kinds of things you'll be wanting to put into your little purse. Maybe money, I don't know, snacks, something for your baby dolls, or maybe your identification, a little wallet. Hey, wallet, that might be something we'll want to make another time. I did make these little tabs that go on these are called D-rings. Whoops, I dropped that one. These are called D-rings, and what do you know? They are shaped like a capital D. So useful piece of hardware. The clips right here have like a little bit of a D-ring. Let's see, here we go. You can kind of see that. It's kind of on the side. And then this is the clip. This is the clip that I'll be clipping onto your purse. I made these little tabs right here that you will be sewing on the side of your crossbody bag before we put the zipper in. Long stitch this way, and then we have the width. So this either makes it either smaller or wider. Okay, can you see the chalk mark on the fabric here? I have the fabric upside down, but what I want to do is I want to sew this little tab here, and I'm just going to move this over here just a little bit more. Just sew this on there, so that we have for the strap later. So go forward, and then we're going to reverse it, okay? Perfect. That works. Make sure my needle is up before I pull the thread out. Lift the foot, and we'll cut that thread off. I have this tab holder right here for the D-ring on this side. We want to make sure we put it on this side, just straight across from it. We don't want to put it on this side, on the bottom. We want to keep it at the top so that our strap can hold on to there. There's the chalk mark. Let's put our little tab unit right there. Hold it down with your finger as best as you can. Double check it. Make sure you still have it on that chalk mark as best as possible. At the top of your tab here lines up with the chalk mark. Okay, let's let it go. All right, now let me reverse so we can tack it in there. Perfect. There we go. Make sure our needle is up before we pull our thread out. It makes life much easier if we do that. So like I said, you can either use the little cutter for the thread right there, and sometimes it doesn't cut all the way. And you know me, I don't like a whole bunch of little threads hanging out. I don't know. I guess that must be my pet peeve. Let me cut this piece of thread off too. And always make sure you have like a little wastebasket. Just a little reminder again. To have a wastebasket handy to put your little garbage in it. Put your garbage in there. So just going to do that. And voila, we've got our 2 little tabs that are turned in right there. And when we're sewing, we want to make sure that those are turned in. Now, your packet comes with the zipper having the fabric ends on the zipper. And it'll make life a little bit easier for you when you go to sewing the zipper on. Okay, so these little pieces of fabric were put on the ends of the zipper that I provided to you. And we're going to cut the little ends off so that they are flush with the zipper here on both sides, okay? And then we're going to be sewing the zipper on. That's an exciting part. That's a big step. It's not hard to do. I'll be showing you how to do this. So we're going to cut those pieces off. Now, we have our little tabs right here that you have sewed on already. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the zipper, okay? And let's see. And it looks kind of backwards when we first start to do the zipper, to install the zipper. And because when we turn it out, your zipper's going to be on the outside. You know, this part right here where you pull. So that means we have to sew it back to back like this. And it's important for us to use some pins on this process right here. Now, another thing that we could use, okay, let's line up the zipper. We want the zipper to be flush on the side here with the fabric, okay? This will hold, this is nice. These clips are really cool to hold your fabric in place. You can always use the pins, and I use both the pins and the clips. So I'm going to put this pin in here, right there. So we're going to get it started over here, but when we start getting toward this area, we're going to stop and we're going to zip that zipper up so that it doesn't get bunched in trying to sew that area. And I'll show you what I mean in a moment. Okay, I always keep a little pair of scissors on the side of the sewing machine. When we get started on the zipper, we're going to have the needle right here go in about the middle of the zipper. We want to line it up that way. Okay, let's see here. Let's get it started. Always good to start. Reverse a little bit. And that helps to secure your thread in there. And you see where the clips are helping to keep this zipper and the fabric lined up, okay? But as we get closer, we're going to take the clip out. Okay. And keep it straight as best as you can. And if you notice, the side of this foot right here is going along the side of the zipper there. And that helps to keep it straight too. I don't want it to turn out crooked. So we're going to watch that real closely. Okay, we're getting close to this end. And you know how I told you we're going to have to stop to move this zipper up? Let's do that now. So I'm leaving the needle in to hold that zipper in place. Now I'm going to take this zipper pull. It's called a zipper pull. Let's see. Whoops. I'd gotten that zipper tangled up with the foot there. See? Okay, there we go. Now bring it up. And that helps so that this continues to stay straight and it doesn't get bulky at the end. As we get closer, I'm going to take that pin out. Okay, there we go. Take the pin out. And then I'm going to reverse it again so that it holds my zipper in place. Put my needle up and take it out. Now let me cut the string with the machine thread cutter there. All right, let's see how that looks. That looks all right. Always look at your stitching once you're finished, okay? And you'll see what I'm talking about. See how this is going to go? It's all going to come into place once we're done. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we are going to put the lining in. So we're going to line up one of the lining pieces. And we are going to make sure that it is the piece that measures the same width from here to here as it does from here to here. The width and the length. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Now let's attach, just as we did, one piece of the lining to what we just sewed. And you see the stitch here where we sewed the zipper? We're going to go right on top of that when we sew again with the sewing machine. So we're going to use our clips. Remember these little tabs here? We put those on. We just keep those tucked in. Those shouldn't bother our project at all as we're doing this part. Just put the clips in. Here we go. The zipper pulls on this side now. So we're going to take this clip out, and I see our blue lining, whatever color your lining is, staying in place. Now I could have put all three together, but I wanted you to understand how this is going to happen, how we're going to secure it together. Okay. So I feel that zipper pull here. So let me, the needle's in the material, in the fabric. You see the zipper pull there? Let me turn. Can you see what I'm doing? Let me turn that zipper pull the other way so it doesn't get bunched up in here and cause a problem. Reverse again. Perfect. Okay. Cut the thread with the sewing machine cutter. Push your thread back. This is going to be fun to see what your project's going to turn out to be. Let's see. Oh my God, this is looking good so far. This is exactly what we want. We've got the lining here, and we have the outside fabric here with the zipper. Ooh, it's looking pretty. At this point in the project, you're going to grab the other outside fabric and the fusible interfacing. The rough side is what we're going to place on top of the inside of the outside fabric. Okay, line it up as best as you can. And then with the heated iron, you see I have it on, so I had to let my iron heat up. We're going to basically kind of eye it. What you can do is you can use your ruler gauge. I've been doing this a little while, so I kind of have a little bit of an eye, and you're going to develop that too for your fabric. So you'll see that I have, it's probably like about a 1/2 inch here. Let me see, I don't know if you can see that. A 1/2 inch right there, about a 1/2 inch there on that side. Maybe move it over to pinch there. It's going to be about a 1/2 inch there and a 1/2 inch there. So when it looks like about right, just hold it down and put your iron on it. What happens is this fusible interfacing, the fusible interfacing or any interfacing helps to give your fabric some body. So it's not so thin and flimsy. We're going to iron down like this. And what it's doing, it's fusing with the fabric together. So it's fusing. That means it's kind of like attaching. It's going to be stuck to it once we're done ironing it. Now, interfacing can be bought where it's fusible on both sides, but then when you do that, they do have a sheet on one side until you fuse it onto your fabric. And then you take that sheet off, and then you can fuse the other side. So, and I want to iron it on this side just to make sure it kind of melts right into it. This is a cute fabric, isn't it? Okay, here we go. So now that's attached just the way the other fabric that was in your packet. Now, one of the best things you can do when you're sewing is to make sure that you iron along with your project, okay? Because what happens, you see this fabric right here? While we have it just kind of like that, it's just not setting as nicely as we want it to. So what we do is kind of iron it down, kind of fill in the, crease it down a little bit right here. Okay, very lightly. Don't hold it down really hard. On this side, we're going to do the same thing. We want to push this fabric down as much as possible. Hopefully your zipper is as nice and straight as you were able to get it. And then we can just iron that down to provide a nice little crease. Now there's a couple of ways to get a crease in there without having to iron it. I should have mentioned that to you, but I will mention that to you on the next piece of fabric that we sew. In order to keep this down, I would suggest putting a pin here just to hold it down. We'll put it this way. Just to hold it down while we're working on this side of the zipper. And you'll see how we put this all together in a while. Let's make sure that we don't accidentally turn this piece of fabric this way because we've got a gap here and a gap here. We want to make sure that it's laying down where the width is matching up with the other one. Now that we have that together, let's use a couple of clips like we did earlier on the other side. And because this is ironed down, this new piece of fabric should not be in the way of the other. So let's line it up there in the corner. We lined it up there in the corner and put a clip there. It's lined up on this corner and we're going to put a clip here. Okay, so let's get back to the sewing machine. I do want you to recognize something. When we attached this piece of fabric to line up with the zipper here on this side, it looks like this is not lined up here on this end. And that's perfectly fine. That's what you want. Because you see that there is there, but this piece of fabric is going to be starting on this zipper on this side. So we're doing good. Might be a good idea to put a pin here just to hold that end down. And what we want to do is want to find out where the zipper pull is. The zipper pull is up there. So let me take that zipper pull down some and out of the way. And let's put this clip back on here. Okay, I hope you're having fun with this project. It's really pretty simple. Now, we can't see where the zipper is at, but if you will recognize when you did the sewing earlier, that there's like a little gap right here and the needle's right here. So those are just little tricks that you'll learn as time goes on. So what we want to do, we do know we can feel the zipper right there. So we do know we don't want to accidentally roll on that. So let's go ahead, start sewing, and then we're going to reverse to tack it in place. Tack our stitch in place. Let's sew a little bit here, and I hope it's feeling good for you just as it is for me. Let's see. We're going to come down just a little bit more because that zipper pull's right here. So I could feel it. It's like a bump in the road right there. We're going to handle that. Stay as straight as you possibly can. There's a little gap there from the fabric and the foot. Let's go. Let's keep going. Go slow if you have to go slow. Okay, I'm feeling like I'm getting closer to the zipper pull. So let's let the needle go in. Put the foot up. Turn your fabric to the side. You see that zipper pull there? See the zipper pull? Okay, let's turn that, pick up that zipper pull. You got to lift it up and turn it that way. There, now that's like out of our way to finish what we're trying to accomplish here. The fabric right here and the zipper on this end is nice and in line. Let's finish sewing that. You can kind of feel that the part of the zipper is right there, and that's good. Let's keep sewing this. Take the clip out. We've got this pin in to hold that end. You see how important it is that these pins and clips are? They are vital to our sewing. As I start getting closer, let's take the pin out and let's sew it down to the end. And then we're going to tack it in by using the reverse. Real quick, just a little bit. You see, we just reverse it just a little bit there. Okay. Let me cut my thread with the sewing machine. I love the sewing machine thread cutter. I think that comes in handy. When I was a young girl, I didn't even know what that was. Okay, so if you'll see what we're getting out here is when we open this up, voila! Look at what this is looking like. This is getting exciting. Okay, we have the lining on one side. Now we have to put the lining on the other side. So what we're going to do is we need to, can you guess? We are going to get our other piece of lining, making sure that it's in the proper direction, the width of your purse. Okay, here we go. Line her up. Put a couple of clips. Oh wait, what we're going to do, we're going to turn it the other way because we want to follow along that line that we put in earlier. Okay, now I can feel the zipper pulls right there, which tells me we need to pull that zipper pull down so when we get started, it's not right in the way. So let me just bring it all the way down so it's out of the way for a little bit. Okay. Oh, I hope you followed that. So we pulled the zipper pull. We pulled the zipper pull down so that we can put these clips and line up the end of this fabric with our second piece of lining. Put our clip there, and we can follow with another clip or we can put a pin, but let's go ahead and just do a clip right here. And I feel the zipper pull right there because I know we're going to be pulling that after a while. Alrighty. Things are looking good. You see how we have it lined up on the corner there. Line it up as best as you can there. You also want to make sure. Well, let's see here. I think I can do a better job than what I did. Let me take this out. And I need to bring this down just a little bit right there. Oops. Make sure we line it up. But let's turn it around the other way because there's a stitch line that we need to follow. Okay, there we go. Got that one there. And this. We've got it lined up. again, another clip, and our third clip. If you feel more comfortable putting more clips, then you do what makes good sense for you. Let's see. Now let's get this started. Now I'm going to follow that same stitch that we did earlier. All right. What are we going to do? We're going to sew a little bit, and then we're going to tack it in by hitting that reverse again. Get started. Reverse. Tack it in. And let's hit the road. Here we are. Okay, we're coming to the first clip. Move it. This is like going down the railroad track right here. And go down just a little further. Beep, beep. Here we go. Okay, I'm feeling that pull right there. So, I'm going to go down just a little bit more. And you see, I'm trying to stay on that stitching line. Now, lift up the foot. There's the zipper pull. Let's try to get a hold of that zipper pull. Hold onto our fabric right there to help us pull it. There, voila. We did it. Okay. Put our foot back down. And let's hit it again. And what are we going to do? Tack it in place. So we're going to hit the oops. So I have to hit the reverse a little bit and let it come back. That way it secures it in place. Okay. Make sure your needle is always up. I should have done that. I didn't do it that time. I've been sewing a long time, but even I forget a couple of things. Don't forget, if you have any problems with this project, you just give me a jingle if you're a little confused about something. Now, you know how I was telling you that there was another way to make your fabric go down. Now, you see this right here? That's where I put the needle earlier to hold those two pieces of fabric in place so that it didn't bother or interfere with these here that I was trying to work with. Now, I put a tool in your packet, and it is called a turning tool and a crease tool. Turning and crease tool. So what you can do, and you can do this with not just that specific tool, but you can do this with this too. So you see how this, if you can notice, this one here is the one that I ironed down. This one here is not yet ironed down, that side. But we want it to be flat as possible. So sometimes what you can do, I shouldn't do it with that. That's a little bit too sharp. Let me get something else. Let's see. I'll use this tool because it's not too sharp, but it'll work. So I have this piece of tool right here that's really... So what you want to do is you want to kind of press the fabric down. When you press it down, this cotton fabric, it helps. You see how there's a difference? It's not puffed up as much, right? Let's turn it around this way. And we see that this right side is puffed up a little bit, but this is flat because we ironed it. So we can always go like this. And what you do, you have to hold it with, kind of do this. This is just one way to, it's hard for me to get around this camera here, but one way to flatten it down. And one thing, if you'll notice, please, is you'll notice that, oops, there's a fabric loose. I'll have to cut that. Oh, there we go. Got it out. That happens. Sometimes you get little stragglers of string here and there, and we just kind of pull them out or cut them off. Okay, so the best thing, so what I wanted to show you, let me get back to it, is you have your zipper here, and you see how you have space right here? That's exactly what we want, because we don't want this fabric so close that the zipper pull gets caught on the fabric. And if you'll see, your zipper should be nice and fitted like this so that when you go up and down, it doesn't get caught up. Have you ever had like a jacket or a shirt and you had a zipper and the darn zipper keeps getting caught on the side fabric? Sometimes certain jackets, they don't make them right. And that's what'll happen if your zipper pull is too close to the way that they sewed it. But on your project, it should not be that way. But if it is, we just take it out with the seam ripper. Here's the seam ripper. Remember this tool right here? I showed this to you guys before a long time ago. And then you have to take it out. But if that happens, we'll work on that, okay? So let's, for a better fit here, we're going to iron this down, and we're going to iron this down too, just so it looks better than just slightly puffed up. So my iron has an automatic shut off on it. If I'm not using it, it shuts off. So I had to wait for it to warm up a little bit. Whoops. So I'm ironing that side down. It was warming up. Make sure you don't leave your iron sitting on your fabric. We don't want it to get too hot and burn it. So now on this side, we're going to try not to iron on the zipper too long either. That's not really a good thing. Okay, here we go. So now both sides are flat. That's exactly what we want. Okay, now to put the pieces together. Okay, let me take this pin out. And what we want to do, even though we have that nice and ironed down, is we want to take this piece, and we also want to take this piece, and we want them to line up. Okay, let's see here. Okay, we want the corners here to line up. So we can put a pin in that to hold it. We also want to put a pin on the other side too. You can always use a clip. But at this point right here, I would recommend using whichever one works best for you. Since I'm a little bit old school, I'm going to just hold that in there right there. And we have that. So it's not puckered. Let's see. There. That's a little nicer looking. Okay. So we have that. Okay. Next thing we do is this right here. You see how it's kind of like a little bit of a box? What we want to do is we want to have the zipper in the middle. That way it doesn't create a bunch on either side. And then we want to, here is that little box right there. Well, let's do this. What we're going to do is we're going to leave an opening on the lining of our purse. We have to prepare for us to turn our purse inside out. Now, what we want to do is we're going to measure this, and this is 6 inches, and from there 6 inches plus another about 2.5 inches. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave kind of like a 4-inch opening in the center. So that we know where this is at, let's go ahead and kind of put a mark here. Okay? At least we kind of know what we're working with. We don't want to sew on that part. We want to leave that part open because we're going to turn our purse inside out. I call it purse, crossbody bag, both the same thing. Okay? So let's put a pin there. We want to make sure we line up the corners. Make sure those are lined up so that your purse is not crooked. Now, let's see. I hope you're still having fun. You got a big smile on your face for this project? I sure hope so. We really don't have much further to go. So we're putting pins on the side so that they can stay together. We don't want them loose, which also means that I need to put some pins. I put 2 here. I need to put some right here to hold it in place. And I'm so glad that we ironed it down like we did. Okay. Now, I just want to remind you too, make sure you've got that zipper pull in the center. Okay, here we go. Now, there we go. We're going to have a little bit of, we have this part here that we have to think about. And that is where the two come together, but it's kind of like a box. And we want them to be in the same direction. So let's see, probably the simpler thing to do is to put a clip on that. Okay. And we have the outside fabric kind of folded up that way. And these two pieces coming down and that fabric going that way. Now let's do that on this side. So we've got this seam that we put in earlier, that seam, and then just put your finger in there, hold it down, make sure this is flat and this is flat, and they're in the same direction because you don't want one going this way and one going the other way. They have to stay in the same direction, okay? And we're going to put a clip on that and hold that down, and that helps a lot. Now, what might be helpful to you, depends on if it's helpful to you or not. And this actually would not be a bad idea. So that you can follow your stitch, you can always get your ruler and do your stitch. Whoops. My pencil's a little dull. Okay, so I measure there. And I measure here. Again, Grandma's been doing this a long time. And I can eyeball it. And either you eyeball it, or we have to also remember that we have the tabs that are over here. So we don't want to sew on those. So we actually don't want it that wide because I don't want to sew on the metal. That will really tear up our sewing machine. Okay. Okay. And we also want to make sure that we leave this here open. We want to leave that open. So we're going to start sewing here. I'll show you what I mean. Let's see. Let's put a little line here for our hem. And maybe I should put this earlier. Okay, we're going to sew there to here. So we are going to sew from here, come here, pick up our pressure foot, go back down this way, and go all the way through. And then same thing here. We're going to start here and go back this way and go all the way through. So this side all the way closed. Okay, let's try it now. And if we have to stop and look at it, we can do that too. Now on this side, if you need to, it would be a good idea to go ahead and mark your fabric here too. Okay, and it's helpful if you get the gauge and you say, okay, I only want to sew it just like a 1/2 inch on the side, then you go here and we're going to use our invisible marker. 1/2 inch right there. Here's a little thing right there. You go. And we line that up, the two, and we'll go like this. And then we'll go over here. And I believe there's a little hole in yours, like this. So then what I do is then I get, let me take this out. I line up those little marks that I put on my fabric, and I make a straight line with them. I line them up and make a straight line with our invisible ink marker. And that's what we're going to sew on. Okay, here we go. Alrighty, let's try it on this end as well. We hold our fabric in place. So let's pin that down. Over here, let's do the same thing. We have our gauge already set. We haven't moved it, so it's in place. come here, and I'm going to put a little mark there. Come over here. We're marking our measurements. Make sure that this blue thing right here is lined up with your fabric. That's what helps keep it straight. So in order for me to put a nice line through it, it's best to take those pins out, line up the pin mark there, the pin mark there, and the pin mark here. Once they're lined up, we use our invisible ink marker. You see there? That's where we're going to be sewing. Okay, let's put our pins back in. Make sure they are lined up. There's that when you're sewing, it's very important to check and recheck. There's a famous saying, and it says, measure twice and cut once. That is a very important thing to remember. Can you say that? Measure twice and cut once. If you measure it twice, that means you've measured it once, you checked it, and then you measured it again to double check it. So let's go ahead and put some markings on this for the next measurement. All right, we still have it on our 1/2 inch mark. Put a little dot there and a little dot here. All right, we are moving. Now right here, I feel the little tab that has the D-ring in it. There's my needle. Okay, there's my pin. Now, let's line this up and mark it. Oh, here we go. Okay, leave that for a minute. We've got the dots, dot, and up there a dot. Okay, let's mark that. Felt kind of funny because I was going over the little tab that has the D-ring. Okay. So we've got that. And always make sure you cover your marker. And you see why I use the marker there and the chalk on the other side? Because the chalk is actually a little easier to see. Now, let's put the clip back on this. I want to make sure that the outside fabric is sticking up. The seams are down, and we put a clip on it. So your fabric, before we go sew it, should be looking like this. It should be nice and flat. They're lined up in there. We've got the pins, and we're going to leave this open, right? So let's leave that open. And we're going to start here. Here we go. Okay, we're keeping this area open. Now we're going to start sewing here. I kind of put a bigger line on that chalk with mark of chalk. I kind of put a big mark of chalk on that area. So I'm just going to go just slightly below it. Take the pin out. Good idea to have your pin collector or something to put your pins in nearby. Okay, because my chalk was so thick, I don't need my seam to be as thick. Okay, let's go. Here we go. I'm going to sew on this side. And since I've sewn this part, I'm just going to take my pin out and leave it on the side there. Okay, stay as straight as you possibly can. I'm going to take this out. Now, here's the thing. Just warning you. We're going to be going over the zipper. And the zipper's kind of thick. Don't worry. It's not a problem. Plus with the seams right there. Kind of thick. We're going to go over it. Okay, here we go. Okay, sometimes you have to lift the foot up to bring it over. And you have to help pull this fabric in the back so it can go through. See? Now because it's so thick, sometimes I go back and then I come back through. Okay, here we go. Now we have to remember, those tabs are here. The D-rings are right there. We do not want to roll over the D-rings. We don't want to sew over them. Now we're following the colored invisible ink. Oops, let me bring that, pull that fabric in the back to help it go through. And we're following the line. This is very important because this is the outside of your fabric. We're going to come to this corner, pick up the foot, and turn our fabric. That's about good right there. Let's see. There we go. Pick up our foot, lift our foot. Now, right at this point, I'm going to take out this pin, and I'm going to leave that it went in because I haven't passed it yet. And it's not even in my way. So we're going to come back this way. I'm going to sew along that the line that we put in there with the invisible ink. Oh, this is getting real exciting because okay, let me take that other pin out. We're getting closer to finishing our project. And, I'm just going to take this one out right there. Hold the fabric together. There we go. Come to the line, lift the foot, turn the fabric. Once in a while, you might accidentally get poked with your pin, but you know what? It happens. Just to be completely honest with you, it happens. Okay, here we go. Let's stay on the line. We'll have another tab with the D-ring coming up. Where's it at? It's always good to at least feel it, see where it's at, so we make sure we don't accidentally veer off and just start going. So you feel that right there? It's not a bad idea. I should have done it on the other side, but it's not a bad idea to kind of go over, to kind of tack it in a little better. All right, let me take the pin out. A lot of things for us to think about when we're sewing. And we remembered that we put the zipper pull in the center, which is a good idea. Okay, this side here, it's going to be a little thick too. So we want to help the fabric go through. So we're going to hold on to this in the back to guide it. Okay, yay. Ooh, yay. Okay, what happened here? Let's see. Looks like there's a little bunch right here going on. Okay, let's see. Let me take this out and try to fix it as best as possible. That is the inside. Okay. There. Looks like we're okay. Let's continue sewing on the line of the chalk or the line of the invisible pin. Take this pin out. And we're coming to the corner to stop and lift the foot. And we're going to come over here. Whoops, I got to pick up that mess. All right. And where are we going to stop? Right where that line is, huh? What we want to do is we want to go forward and we're going to go back just to tack it in. All right. Lift our needle up, pick up the foot, cut our thread, and put those threads behind so that when we get started the next round, you see this? Okay, now this is going to be fun. Next. This next process is almost like opening a present. So what we want to do is we want to take that out, and little by little, we're going to be turning our project inside out. So use your fingers to kind of pull it through. And we see the zipper. Want to be careful because we don't want to rip the fabric. Oh, look at this. This is actually almost like opening an LOL doll. And if the zipper's in the way, now you can open the zipper a little bit more so that the fabric can come all the way through. Here we go. Oh my God, this is so exciting. Let's see. I'm going to punch with your fingers, punch the corners out as best as you can. Okay. And you know that one turning tool I was telling you that I sent you? It's white, and I sent it to you. Oh my gosh, this is exciting. Look at, we're just about done. But remember this area where we opened it up? What we want to do is now, because it's already sewn on this side and sewn on that side, we want to iron it down. Okay, because what we're going to do, this is the inside, and it's okay that we're putting a stitch on the top of it. Now, the area that we sewed it, that we didn't sew it, we want to close that up. And what you can do, we can always just sew from here to here, but you could just go ahead and sew from here to there, okay? Before we do that, you want to use your turning tool. Now, my turning tool is different than yours. This is my turning tool. I've had it for a long time. I just can't seem to find them anymore. So what you do is you use your turning tool, the white one I gave you, and you help to kind of push the corners out so that they look nice. You don't want to puncture the thread, just lightly, very lightly. Also on your bag, on this corner, and you want to punch those out just a little bit, just lightly, okay? So the next thing to do, now we go to the sewing machine and we sew this closed. Okay, here's that opening. And I can, like I said, I can sew from here to there and just close it up, but I think I'm just going to start at one end and go to the other. And since it's ironed down, I'm not really needing any pins on this right now. That's kind of cool. All right. Bring my needle up, lift up my foot, and cut the thread. There we go. Let me cut this side too. This is what we have. A couple little straggler threads, and we'll just cut those off. Be sure not to cut your fabric. There. Oh, here's a couple more. Let me just get those while we're at it. Those little threads, there we go. They're good. Oh, here's another little one. If you're going to be that little picky like I am, I'm a little picky about those threads. Okay, here we go. All right. That is sewn. Now what we do is we tuck that lining inside our bag. Look at that. We have a lined bag. So now on this side, what we need to do is use our turning tool to pull. Here's a couple straggler threads. We'll get those with the scissors in a minute. But right here on the corner, you just kind of want to use your turning tool and bring those corners out a little bit, like that. See there? On the other side. Let's see. Bring it out as best as you can. Sometimes it's a little difficult because that's where the zipper was, the zipper piece, the little ends for the zipper. And there we have it. You have a little bag there, but it's not done yet. Now what we want to do is we do want to, okay, let's see. Oh, that looks so pretty on the inside. Oh my gosh. Yours is going to be gorgeous. If you need to, just use the other, whichever end of to kind of push the corners to the corner. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Let's iron this down. Iron this down again. So be nice and flat for you. And we are almost done. Are you excited? My gosh, I am. By golly. You know what's nice about this? What's nice about this fabric is that it's cotton. When it gets dirty, and if you need to throw it in the washer, you can take the strap off and you can throw it in the washer. I would recommend that before you do wash it, you close it up, okay? So, let's see. Now I'm going to go get my strap. Okay, our bag is already nice and sewn, the front and back. Here's the little tabs right here with the D-rings. Now remember the strap that we had and that you put the other one on there? We're now going to connect it together, and we have a bag with the strap, a crossbody bag. So I hope this one fits me. Oh, something that I meant to mention for sizing yours. We need to make sure that yours is sized. Okay, so we get your crossbody bag and you put it over you like this, and you have a crossbody bag. Now, the length that I made your straps is long. So if you've already sewn it on, if it's longer, you can actually cut that off and sew it again and adjust it to your size. Okay? You adjust it to your size by pulling it through and sewing it. Because guess what? You're a sewist now. You're a maker. And you know how to sew now. You've got some skills already. And if you don't want to do that and you just kind of want to do something a little different, you can just grab it like this, put a little knot in it, kind of be a little, kind of looks like a little bit of a fashion statement a little bit. Go like this, or you can put it on your crossbody bag across your body as well. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that lesson. I had a good time showing and sharing it with you. I have some other ideas lined up too, like maybe making some scrunchies, a doll clothes. So you let me know what you think about this and how you enjoyed it. But this is going to be pretty cool. You've got a little purse now. Here we go. A crossbody purse, crossbody bag. Enjoy. Love you. We'll talk to you soon.